Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. On April 2nd on Crunchyroll, we have this new anime, The Beginning After the End. Essentially, it follows like this very ruthless king who died but gets reincarnated in the body of an infant, and so now he's growing up and he's trying to gather up all these abilities. He has the knowledge of everything he knew as like in his life previously as the king, but now it's him kind of reevaluating his approach to things, and he's coming at things from a softer perspective of he wants to help people, he wants to protect the people, like his parents as well as the allies he meets along the way. So his perspective on things have changed. He's changed on with kind of this new lease on life. So seems like an interesting series. On April 3rd on Netflix, we have the animated Devil May Cry series, because I don't know if it would technically count as an anime. I think it would, but regardless, very excited about it. I've talked about it in a video when I talked about the this trailer discussion, that I am a big fan of the Devil May Cry series. So the trailer looked wild, and I'm very excited to see what the story is. And I said in my video too, like whether or not this seems to be canon or not. It seems like it's kind of doing its own thing, but like I said, what does it pull from the Devil May Cry series into this? So it seemed really great, just felt very Devil May Cry-ish, so I'm very excited to see what the story ends up being and how it all unfolds. Also on April 3rd on Prime Video, we have a new limited series called The Bondsman. Basically, Kevin Bacon is a bounty hunter who ends up getting murdered, goes to hell, and when he comes back from hell, he's basically charged with collecting and sending demons that escaped from hell back to hell. So I didn't watch much of the trailer. I watched enough to get the premise of it. Seems interesting enough. I'm excited. That seems like a fun action-y horror series, so that was just enough to entice me. On April 5th on Adult Swim, we have this new animated series called Lazarus. Essentially, this doctor or whatever basically put this pill out there to the world that people thought it was going to do good stuff, but it turns out it basically was a death clock, and now people have 30 days to try and track him down if they want to be able to get a cure. And this is like to all these different people who've taken this drug. And so Lazarus is the name of this squad of people that have been put together trying to save it. As one of the lead protagonists says, like, oh, we're superheroes. So they're kind of doing their own thing and they're trying to track him down. Seems like an interesting premise. I'm excited to, that's kind of like the base understanding I have of it based on the trailer, but I'm excited to kind of see what it fully encapsulates and just where the story goes and like the full scale of everything. On April 6th, we have Witch Watch, which I believe is coming out on Netflix, Crunchyroll, and Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. But essentially the premise is you follow like the main protagonist, who is a witch, and she has a familiar who is an ogre. But the thing is, and this ogre is like her longtime childhood friend, but it turns out she has feelings for him, and it's about her trying to, keep him close so that she can eventually like reveal her feelings to him, while also he's trying to protect her from all the supernatural mishaps that typically spring up because of her. So it just seems like a nice kind of fantastical romantic comedy series. It seems really interesting. That I'm excited to see, where everything ends up going. On April 10th on Netflix, we have a new anime series called Moonrise. Now, based on the trailer, it seems like there's humanity is also moved to the moon, not just living on Earth, but now, like, I guess all these years later, there's bad blood between those who live on the moon versus those who live on Earth, and now it's like a war is clashing between the people on the moon trying to get their independence from those on Earth, but it seems like people on Earth have every right to have beef with those on the moon, especially because it seems like the main protagonist, I think his name is Jack, his parents died in like a terrorist attack, so he's trying to capture the guy who's basically the leader on the moon. That's the premise I got from it. And that's just the official trailer kind of gave you that, but it kind of doesn't really give you the full scale of everything. You got a little world building in that and some action sequences, but we don't really know the full scale of like the history of things and what this thing is. But I mean, just from the animation alone and the sequences we saw, it looked pretty dope. So I'm excited to kind of get a better understanding of what the story is. On April 12th on Disney Plus, we have a new season of Doctor Who. Technically season 2 because they kind of rebooted things with Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor. So it's technically season 2, but I think classified as season 15. That's a whole thing, but I am not caught up with Doctor Who. I still need to go back. And I believe there was a special in between the previous season and this season, but also like I haven't seen the first full Ncuti Gatwa season, so I need to go back and watch that. You know, I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, so I'm really excited to see, well, to catch up and also see, you know, what's in store for this next season. On April 13th on HBO, we have season 2 of The Last of Us, which I am very, very excited about. Obviously, this is going to be adapting The Last of Us Part 2, so it's going to be very, very fascinating and interesting to see how they adapt it, like what changes they make, what they keep the same, the pacing of it, like when they decide to do certain monumental moments in the game. Like, obviously, there's the big one. Everyone's like, yo, are you going to do that thing early, or are you going to stretch that out to later parts of the season? It's going to be interesting to see how they end up structuring that. Also on April 13th on Hulu, we have season 2 of Go Go Loser Ranger, which I'm so excited about. I did not watch the trailer, so I'm going to go into the season having no idea what to expect, but I'm so excited to have Go Go Loser Ranger back. It's one of my favorite animes from last season, last year, because I was like, I had no idea. Well, I had a general premise idea of what it was about, but I didn't expect the story to kind of go the way it did, and I'm excited to continue that to see where things take us. And finally, on April 24th, we have the 5th and final season of You on Netflix. I'm so excited to see how You comes to an end. There is a trailer out, but I'm not watching it. I want to go into this knowing as little as possible. I know, obviously, where Joe and Kate are at the end of last season, but I'm curious about, obviously, that other side of Joe that came out. You know, I wonder, will we get any of that I mean, it's going to be so interesting, because I don't expect this to end very happily for Joe. It's like, there's no way you're just going to continue to get away from it even at the very end. Who knows? Maybe he will. We've seen how every other like relationship he's had's kind of played out, you know, the him and love situation. So will him and Kate be a repeat of that? I'm so curious to see what this season has in store for us. And so that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that's coming out that you think maybe me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.